Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening from where you are joining us from. It's a pleasure to be with you all today. Well, for those of you joining us today, thank you so much. My name is Bruno Freitas. I'm the PMO strategist here at PMO Evolution. I have the pleasure to work with many PMO leaders across many countries, but mostly here in North America, in many different industries as well. And we help those PMOs either to establish PMOs or to mature PMOs. And myself, I have been leading PMOs for many, many years. So I have experienced the challenges, the excitement that we live on a daily basis when we are running a PMO, right? And more specifically, we are a Smartsheet partner for North America. And we have done lots of Smartsheet implementation. And throughout my PMO leadership career, I had the opportunity to use many different PPM tools. A lot of times it was really challenging to use them to get the most out of those opportunities to make sure that the my project management team was excited about those PPM tools as well and was using them properly so we could have the information that we need at the portfolio level for our PMO customers, right? So we're going to be talking about Smartsheet today. Of course, I'm not going to be covering everything that Smartsheet has to offer in a lot more time, but I'll be focused on the Smartsheet AI features. So if you are not familiar, Smartsheet has released several AI functionalities in the last, I would say, the last 2 or 3 months. It has been amazing. And a lot of those AI features, I love them. I think they are very helpful for project managers, for PMO leaders as well. So if you are a project manager, if you are using Smartsheet today to manage your projects, I hope that you're going to find a lot of these functionalities very, very useful. Okay, so let's dive into our presentation. I'm not going to be spending too much time with PowerPoint decks because really the intent for today's conversation is to show you the functionalities live in Smartsheet. So that's what I'm going to do. But there are some context information that I want to provide so everybody is at the same page. Okay. And as I always say, I love to see where people are joining us from. So please feel free to use the LinkedIn comments to put your questions, to let us know where you're joining us from, or make comments, whatever you want. I'll make sure to be addressing your questions as we go through our presentation today. All right, so let's dive into some of the things that I wanted to show you. So to start with, before we talk about technology in C, I think it's important to say because this is something that we typically see every time that we start working with a PMO. They look at technology, they are very excited about implementing a new PPM tool, and a lot of times they don't have the foundations to be taking advantage of that PPM tool. So, it's important to say that if your PMO doesn't have sound governance practices, if you are not focused on what your PMO customers are looking for, implementing a PPM tool can be a distraction. It can just amplify the noise that you have on your communication. You are going to invest time, money, and you are not going to take the most of all the platform. You are not going to really deliver value to your PMO customers. So that's something that I want to say upfront because I think it's really important. So what I have in this slide here, on the right side, I have a illustration of the PMO value generating flywheel. So for those of you who are familiar with the PMO practice guide from PMI, it presents this framework that can help you to establish and to improve your PMO capabilities, right? And you see right in the middle, you have the PMO customer. So that's a very important identification for us because everything that we have to do here, we are doing for our PMO customers, right? So we are creating reports, implementing a PPM tool, we are managing projects. So we can help those PMO customers to make better decisions, right? Or to enable them to be successful. So a lot of PMOs, they come with this mentality that, we have to implement everything that the PM box says, or we have to implement everything that this given framework says, right? And a lot of times they are not questioning what is the value that those controls are going to be bringing to the organization. A lot of times they want to be compliant with those standards. They want to achieve a higher maturity level according to some maturity framework. But in reality, that's not what your PMO customers are looking for. So I want to highlight that because if you are using a PPM tool most of the time to help you with your PMO reporting, your portfolio at the portfolio level, program level, project level, it's very important that you are very clear on who your PMO customers are and what they're looking for, right? So that's why I have people at the bottom of this pyramid here, because really understanding your PMO customers, and that includes your project management team as well, by the way. A lot of times I have experienced that myself. We implement the PPM tool thinking about the possibilities for the PMO, right? Oh, it's going to help me to optimize my portfolio reporting. I'm going to have visibility across all my projects, et cetera, et cetera. But we don't think about whether or not we're helping our project management team to be more efficient. I have, as I said, I have experienced that myself. I have used several different PPM tools. And what happens is that you are asking your project management team to use those tools, but they are not easier or much more efficient than, let's say, Microsoft Project or Excel or PowerPoint. And then naturally, your PMs will say, well, I can manage my projects a lot faster and more efficiently using Microsoft Project and Excel and PowerPoint. So therefore, I'm only going to be using this PPM tool to add, let's say, key milestones or key risks or key financial information. So a lot of your project data will live outside of your PPM tool because it's not easy for your project managers to be managing their projects using the PPM tool that you acquired. And that can be a distraction. That can be a problem as well because you're going to be chasing those project managers all the time for updates, right? And it becomes an operations nightmare for you. The second layer that I have here is data. And, you can have a successful PMO without having a PPM tool. I'm not going to say that's going to be easy because it's not going to be easy. You're going to have to consolidate data manually from multiple sources, and you're going to be spending time for that. But of course, if you know what your PMO customers are looking for, you are able to capture those data points that will help you to put together a dashboard, even if you are using Excel, even if you are using PowerPoint, right? Something that is manual. But you are going to be able to capture those data points and present to them in a way that's going to help them to make better decisions, right? And to enable them to be successful. So I would say that let's separate data from technology because, as I said, you can have really good dashboards even if you don't have a PPM system. Next one is process. So process is interesting because you need process to make sure that you are capturing the data points at the right time, that you are treating those data points as well, that you have some governance around them so you can trust the data that you have there, right? Nobody wants to have risk information, for example, for your portfolio that was last updated 6 months ago, right? It really doesn't help. You want to make sure that the risks you have in your portfolio are up to date. Some risks have been closed, some risks are open. You are very clear on who are the risk owners, what is the due date, what are the likelihood, the impact, the mitigation actions for those critical risks, right? So you want to make sure that you have governance on top of that so you can trust the data that you are presenting to your PMO customers for decision making, right? And then at the very top is when we have technology, because technology is where everything is going to be optimized, right? You are going to have better visibility. You are going to have your automated dashboarding, and it's going to make your PMO a lot more efficient. And that's really the purpose of technology. Leading your PMO implementation or your PMO maturity with technology might be a mistake because you may force people to capture data points that are not helping anyone with decision making. You might be forcing people to use features available in your PPM system that is not the natural flow that they need to have for your organization. It doesn't reflect your project life cycle, for example, doesn't reflect your project phases, your milestones, et cetera, right? So it's really important that we lead the PMO with people, data, and process, and just bring a PPM tool that will help you to become more efficient. So that's what I want to highlight front, because if you have bad data, everything that I'm going to show you about the Smartsheet AI functionalities is going to be bad. You cannot trust the data that you have in your PPM system at that point. As I said, please feel free to use the LinkedIn comment box to ask any questions or to make any comments as we go through this conversation. So there are several AI functionalities that Smartsheet released in the last few months, as I said, and I'm going to show you in order of importance, I would say, but I will start with Smart Assist because I believe that Smart Assist can really be one of the major value-add features that you have available for your PMO today. And funny enough, a lot of these AI functionalities that I'm going to talk about today, they are available at the entry-level plan that Smartsheet offers, right? The Pro plan. So if you are using Smartsheet already, chances are that you have these features available for you today, right? If you are not using Smartsheet today, then you can have access to those functionalities, not paying much money. So that's a good thing as well. Okay, so let's talk about Smart Assist. So what Smart Assist is your AI agent inside of the Smartsheet platform. So through Smart Assist, you can interact with the data that you have in Smartsheet the same way you would do if you are using, let's say, ChatGPT or Microsoft Copilot or Claude, any one of these AI platforms, right? The same way that you can interact with natural language, ask conversations, see response, see content, see recommendations. That's what Smart Assist is going to enable you to do as well. So let me go to Smartsheet and I can show you live how Smartsheet works. So let me share my screen. There you go. Okay. So now you can see Smartsheet. I'm going to close this tab here so we have a little bit more room to see what we are doing first. So first of all, for those of you who are not familiar with Smartsheet, right? One of the things that I really like, especially from a project management perspective, is that the Smartsheet offers the same look and feel that you find in Microsoft Project, in Excel. So it's very easy to add new rows, add new columns, things like you typically would do in one of those traditional platforms that I was talking about. Smartsheet has several different views. So this one that I'm showing right now is the Gantt view. So as you can see here, this is a project schedule. I have several tasks, etc., and I have my Gantt chart here, blah, blah, blah. So for you to have access to Smart Assist, you need to go to the table view. So in the table view, you are not going to see your Gantt chart. So that's one of the limitations. I'm going to be talking about some of these limitations of these AI features because not everything is perfect, of course, as we go through this conversation, but at very least, you will understand the possibilities now with these AI functionalities. So here at the very top, I have this purple icon and click on it, it's going to open up Smart Assist. So now you can see Smart Assist here. It lives inside your sheet in Smartsheet, right? So now you can interact with the data that I have here. So for example, I put together a few prompts that I'm going to use for this demo here because you guys don't want to see my typos if I try to type everything live here. So I'm going to copy and paste the prompts that I have created before, but you can try this on your own Smartsheet instance with your own Smartsheet data. So over here, I'm going to say, summarize this project. And I want to see what is on track, what changed, and what needs my attention. That's what I'm asking Smart Assist to do. So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, and let's wait a few seconds here to see what Smart Assist is going to come up with. And of course, as I said, while we wait, please feel free to let me know where you're joining us from. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if there is any aspect of these AI features that you want me to demonstrate as we go through this. So Smart Assist is analyzing my sheet. So for you guys to have an idea here, this is your typical project schedule, as I said, with task names, assign, status, start date, duration, percent complete, predecessors, and I have a column as well for latest comments. So that could be a setup that you have in your plan, in your PMO today, or maybe you don't, right? Really doesn't matter. Smart Assist is going to take the data that you have in your sheet for context, right? And one thing that I want to say here while Smart Assist is working on the background is that Smart Assist is only capable now to look at the data of your open sheet. So I have here my project plan. If I had asked Smart Assist to say, for example, hey, look at the risks that I have on my project schedule and update my raid log, which lives in another sheet, Smart Assist is not yet capable to do that. You can achieve that using Claude or Microsoft Copilot. I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes. But for now, Smart Assist is only looking at the context that you have on your open sheet. So as you can see here now, Smart Assist came back with the thing that I had asked. So it says that these are the tasks that need my attention: the migration, defect resolution, the user acceptance test, the vendor SOW amendment, and the CRM integration. So those are the critical things from its assessment. It's also suggesting to watch on these other items here. It seems they are not a problem yet, but they may become a problem soon. It's pointing me to key risks and also suggesting next steps. So, as I said, the same way that you have Copilot or ChatGPT or these other AI platforms today to help you with your work, Smart Assist works like that. For those of you who are Smartsheet admin, all these AI functionalities that I'm going to show you today, they can be enabled or disabled through the Smartsheet administrator. I'm not going to show that today, but just keep that in mind if you want to not make them available for your team for any reason. Okay, so there you go. So this is something that an analysis that Smart Assist has done. So I'm going to go ahead here and ask Smart Assist to do something else for me here. I'm going to ask the Smart Assist to draft a concise status email to my project sponsor, Richard, covering the top 3 risks and decisions we need from the July 23rd steering committee. So Smart Assist is going to help me with that. It's going to put together that email that I asked about so I can just copy and paste and send to Richard. Another thing that I want to say here is that I can ask Smart Assist to make changes to my project plan. So, for example, if I had asked Smart Assist, for example, here it said that Priya, which is one of the resources I have here on my project plan, overallocated, right? I could have asked Smart Assist to replace Priya's allocation with another resource, and Smart Assist would be updating my project plan by doing that. You might be comfortable with Smart Assist doing that, or you may not be comfortable with Smart Assist updating your project plan for you. That's okay. You can just ask the Smart Assist for recommendations and you can make those changes manually if you prefer. Sometimes we just want to be safe instead of rely on technology 100%. Okay, so I'm going to open now a portfolio RAID log that I have here. And so this is your typical RAID log, right? And you have here project name, descriptions, blah, 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 impact, probability, owners, etc., etc. So what Smart Column does, I'm going to show you now, is that I have it here on the right to start with 2 columns, and you can see here this purple icon indicating this is a AI generated column. So if you add a new column, and you have to be on the table view again, so if you guys are not on the table view, chances are this is not going to be available for you. Okay, so go to the table view, and then you're going to see here the option to open a new column. So if I do that, you see the first 3 options here are AI powered columns. So I have here translation, sentiment, and summary. So the first example that I want to show is this active brief here. So what I have in this portfolio RAID log is that I have a bunch of issues, risks, etc., and I have descriptions and I have updates and all that. I may want to have a executive summary of the information that I have for each one of those items. So in the executive dashboard that I'm presenting, I don't want to show to my executive team all this information because it's too much. I just wanted to show briefly what these items are so they have an idea about what this is, what I'm doing about, what the next steps are, right? I don't want to waste too much of their time. And of course, as you know, in Smartsheet, you can slice and dice the data that you have in Smartsheet any way you want. So for example, I could have created a report to say, I just want to show to my executive team the rate items that are escalated, for example, using this status here, right? So that way I'm filtering out the data that I want to, or the noise that I don't want to show them. And I'm being very specific to what they need or what I need from them so I can move forward with my approach. So here on the executive brief, what I did was I used the AI summary type column type, sorry, and I said summarize those two fields, the description and the latest update. I could have added other columns that I have in the sheet as well, but for this example, I just asked for those two. And then I said, summarize in one sentence of 20 words or fewer, stating the core problem and the decision or action needed, written for a PMO governance meeting. And this is going to, so now I have this column created, and every time that I update these items that I have here, or every time that a new rate item is added, uh, this executive brief will be right. So I'm going to have a executive brief for new items. If I change anything in these existing items, the executive brief will be updated accordingly as well. So it can be very useful for your PMO, especially if you have sheets with multiple data and you just want to summarize in one paragraph for your executive audience. The other one that I have here is another column type that is called translation. So in this example, I don't know if you guys noticed that, but I have a few items in English and I also have a few items in Portuguese. So of course, I might be working on a multinational PMO and I need to manage my projects locally in our language. So let's say I'm working in Brazil, I want to manage my projects in Portuguese. But when it comes to provide executive reporting to my um, enterprise PMO, I have to translate them to translate all that information to English so people from different nationalities they can understand what those items are about, right? So if I was not using this functionality, I will have to maybe translate all that content to English. But now I can simply use this translation column here and I can choose one of these target languages. So there's plenty available. And English, of course, is one of them. And I want to say, translate this description column, keep a professional tone, and preserve project management terminology, right? I can provide any instructions I want. And then there you go. All this content here, including the ones in Portuguese now, are going to be translated to my target language, right? So it can be quite helpful for your executive portfolio dashboards, for example, if you have people from different nationalities looking at it. The other one that I want to show live here, because we have a few minutes, is uh, the sentiment analysis here. So what I'm going to do that is now in this portfolio rate log, not really, I don't have a flag to tell me which items really need well, of course, I could use the status column because some items are escalated, but I can use this sentiment analysis to help me to understand which items really need my attention immediately. Okay. So I'm going to create a new column called team signal. And the type is segment analysis. And what I'm going to do is that, let me see here the things that I have planned to do here. So I'm going to use the latest update column. I could have used a few other ones if I wanted as well, but I'm going to use only the latest update. And what I'm going to say is that I want this to be labeled as it's a confident on or it's stable. It can be, I don't know, concern maybe. And I'm going to have another one that is called distress. And I'm going to put different colors here so we can visually see the ones that need more of our attention. I think concern is going to be more like orange and distress is going to be really red. And I'm going to put some instructions here. I'm going to say, let me copy what I had put before. I say, judge the emotional tone of the project team behind the update, not the severity of the risk itself. Okay. So I'm going to do that and I'm going to apply and let's see what happens. So now there is a new column called team signal. And as you can see, it was just populated with those labels that I had identified, right? So as a PMO leader now, I can go through this now and I can pay more attention to those items where the latest update, the team sound a little bit more concerned, right? So I can focus on those things that need more of my attention. Perhaps these other ones that are the team is confident about the mitigation plan or the resolution. I'm okay. I don't need to pay too much attention, right? So you can use that as a way to, as I said, to create your own reports so you can be always focused on, especially when you are providing oversight to your project management team, to be focused on the items that really need your attention, and AI will help you to point out those specific items. Or perhaps you could use that for lessons learned as well. If you have a lessons learned register, for example, you could use this to say you categorize positive lessons learned from negative lessons learned, for example. You can use Smart Assist to say, for the negative lessons learned, for example, I want to see recommendations on what I need to change on my project management delivery methodology, for example. And Smart Assist is going to be suggesting a bunch of recommendations. And of course, you can polish that, but you can leverage that to really make changes to your project methodology so those lessons can be learned, right? A lot of times what we see is that people have lessons learned in their project management methodology. They ask the teams to populate those register, but they don't use it for anything. So it's not a good of anyone's time, but now you do have an opportunity to really use those lessons learned for something that can be very useful for you to make improvements for your PMO. So just a few ideas that you can explore using Smart Column and Smart Sys together. Okay. So I don't see any questions yet or any comments, so I'll keep moving. But as I said, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to just throw into the chat box. Okay, yeah, I'll go back to my slide deck now. The next one that I want to talk about is the dashboard builder. So this is the key functionalities or key features that I found in Smartsheet. As I said, I was using other PPM products before, and one of the challenges that I was facing was that I couldn't, some of those PPM tools, they came with pre-built dashboards, or sometimes we could configure and customize those dashboards for our needs, but you needed to have licenses for people to see the content of those dashboards, right? And sometimes those licenses were very expensive. So what happened was that, I was spending time to create those executive dashboards, and unless I would pay licenses for the executive team to have access to those dashboards inside of my PPM tool, they would. And that brings all sorts of trouble, right? One is that, you have to pay license for people who are only consuming information. They are not going to do anything within your PPM tool. So it's kind of a waste of money. And the other thing is that it's not a comfortable user experience, especially for executive audience, right? Because now you are asking them to log into your PPM tool, find out where your dashboards are, and look for the information they need. So there are several steps, and a lot of these apps, they don't have that time available today. So Smartsheet addresses a lot of, alternatively, what I did was I was exporting that data and creating a bunch of Power BI reports. So it was a little bit easier. I could just share the link of those Power BI dashboards with my executive team so they would have easy access to that information. But then on the other side, I'll need to have in my PMO team someone who could help me exporting the data, make sure the data was properly loaded to a Smartsheet, refreshing that data so the data was up to date, right? So there was always, even if the data is right in the PPM tool, there's always that risk. Now that we're talking about projects and risk is one of our realities, there's always a risk that the data may not come through as you expected when you export the data from your PPM2 to your target BI platform. So that's a possibility. Sometimes there was synchronization issues and the dashboards were not syncing, although the data was up to date in the PPM2. So not a great idea, and it's a kind of a operations nightmare when you start using multiple platforms to manage your PMO. So in Smartsheet, one of the main features that I found is that you can quickly and easily create dashboards uh, at the project level, program level, portfolio level, really reflecting the data that you have. It's pulling data directly from your project, so you don't need to be replicating that data anywhere. You don't need to be creating reports manually, none of that. The data gets automatically refreshed because it lives inside of Smartsheet. And now you can use AI to help you create those dashboards. So let me just go back to Smartsheet in a moment here. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to create a dashboard. And when I do that, there you go. So the first thing that Smartsheet is doing now is asking me to what is the type of dashboard that I want to create, right? So I can now inform in natural language what is the information that I'm looking for. And Smartsheet at the very least will give me an initial draft, right? So of course, it's not perfect yet to the point that you don't have to do any other work, but at least it can get you to a starting point very quickly. And then from that, you can just refine and really make sure that you have the information that you are looking for, present in the way that you are looking for. So I'm going to show you an example and you guys are going to understand what I'm talking about. So here, let me say I have my little prompt. So I'm not going to waste you guys' time. So what I'm asking is that I want to see an executive portfolio status dashboard for a monthly steering committee meeting and show the portfolio health mix across green, yellow, red, budget versus actuals by project, percent complete by project, and project count by phase. Highlight projects that need attention. So that's what I'm asking Smartsheet to do. So, and Smartsheet has a bunch of prompts here. By the way, some of the links that we're going to be sharing after this, they contain a bunch of prompts that Smartsheet already put together and suggest you that you could use on these various AI functionalities that I'm demonstrating today. So just an idea so you guys can leverage some of that information that is already pre-built. So the next step here is that Smartsheet is going to ask me what is the source of that data, right? Where the data is coming from. As you naturally would if you were creating this dashboard manually, right? So in this case, I could select multiple source if I want, but in this very case, I have my portfolio register here, which contains, it's basically a master sheet with all projects that I have in flight in my portfolio right now. So I'm going to select that one and let's see what dashboard builder is going to come up with. So let's give it a moment here. It's analyzing the data that I have in that sheet, and then it's going to suggest something. And then from there, you can always prompt and refine what you see in your dashboard using natural language and using AI to help. Or you can manually now refine those reports or those dashboards, those widgets, using your dashboard building skills that you learned if you are familiar with Smartsheet, how to build things in Smartsheet. So there you go. So now I will save it here so you can see this. So it's a starting point, as I said. I'm not saying this is perfect from the get go, right? My prompt was quite generic as well, so I could have done a much better job in explaining what I was looking for. But there you go. So you had here the different widgets that I had asked Smartsheet to provide, and now I can always, if I edit this dashboard again, and let's say I'm going to click on this guy, it's going to open up and it's going to suggest a few actions that I could take from there, or I can type whatever I want, and I can ask Smart Dashboard Builder, sorry, to change that widget for me. The other thing that I could do is that I could manually said and edit the short style, and I can come here and say, this red, it really doesn't look like red, it looks like more of a blue. So, those are things that I can do manually as well if I want. For example, I can change my colors here to truly red, and I want to make sure that It looks good. My yellow, it's yellow already. My green doesn't look like green. I want this to be really green, and there you go. So that's something that you can do manually to refine your dashboards as well. But at the very least, it gives you a starting point, and then from there you can just keep building, right? And then, as I said, one of the nice things about Smartsheet is that once I have my dashboards ready, I can simply come here and I can share this dashboard. And when I do that, I can copy a link and send to someone, or I can set permissions as well. And I can say, I want this person to have access to this dashboard as a viewer. So they will have access to dashboard. And in that case, I don't need to buy a license for them because they are only a viewer, right? They are only consuming information. They are not editing. They are not entering any information inside of Smartsheet. So therefore, I don't need to be buying licenses for them. So I have a question here from Jenny. She's asking, will this be available to watch on demand after the demo is completed and miss the first 20 minutes to do another meeting? Of course, Jenny. We'll send the recording after this demo, and then you can watch the whole thing. And it will be available on our YouTube channel as well. So you have plenty of opportunities to watch it again whenever you want. Okay, thanks for your question. All right, so let's keep going here, guys. Unless anyone have more questions, but we have a few other things that I want to show. So moving forward with our presentation, all these functionalities that I have shown so far, they live inside of Smartsheet, right? So if you don't have access to an AI platform in your organization yet, you can already use these functionalities. They are available for you in Smartsheet. But for those of you who are working in organizations that have allowed you to use AI platforms, Smartsheet is now capable to be connected with the most popular AI agents. So Claude, ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, or Google Gemini, all these available to be integrated with Smartsheet. Just keep in mind that this is not available at the Pro plan, which is the entry level plan. This is available at the business plan and the enterprise plan. So that's the intermediate or the top Smartsheet core plan available at the moment. If you are on the Pro plan, this is not available for you yet. Okay, so let me show you here how this thing works, because I think this is one of the best things that has happened to Smartsheet was really this MCP connection here. So what I have here, let me show you. I'm going to use Claude because I personally like Claude. But as I said, this is available for these other platforms as well. To set this up in Claude, it's quite easy. You need to have a paid Claude license. It doesn't need to be the most expensive one. It can be one of any paid Cloud license would work. And then you need to set up the connection with Smartsheet, which is easy, but you need to have admin access in Cloud and also in Smartsheet to do that. But once that is set up, you are good to go, right? You don't need to do anything else. So what I'm going to do here now, I have Claude connected to my Smartsheet feature. So what I'm going to show you is some of the possibilities now. So one of the things I want to do is that if I move forward here with my slides, I have a few items that I want to demonstrate. I don't know if I'm going to have time to show everything, but at least I'm going to show you a couple of different examples here. The first one is that I want to create a executive portfolio briefing. So I'm going to put a prompt here and see how specific I am. I'm going to say, read the portfolio register, which is one of the sheets that I have in my Smartsheet instance, the portfolio rate log, which is another one, and the ERP project plan, which is another one, in my Smartsheet AI workspace in Smartsheet. So if you have multiple workspaces in Smartsheet, you can be a little bit more generic. If this is a portfolio, I want to see a summary of all the workspaces, right? So I could have done that as well. But in this case, I create this workspace specifically for this presentation. So I want to make sure that I'm using what I have here. So write an executive briefing for the steering committee in under 300 words, overall portfolio health, the three things that matter most right now, and decisions needed this month. So I'm going to do that. And while Claude is processing what I asked, and you see that now it's browsing my workspace in Smartsheet, I'm going to answer Oscar's question here. So let me see. If there is not a centralized RAID log, but multiple data sources, are there any limitations in the tool? This is more a data architecture issue. Oscar, I'm not going to have the time today to demonstrate how that works, but essentially, you can create a project template within Smartsheet, which contains, let's say, your project plan template, your your RAID log template, your benefits tracker template, your financial tracker template, all those things. And then you can apply that same kit to all your projects in your organizations. Some will be using the same data points, right? They will be capturing the same data points. And then you can create reports and dashboards in Smartsheet to pull data from all those RAID logs in this example and just filter out what you want to see, what you don't want to see. Maybe you can, you can use that same data set for different audiences. So for example, if it's for me as a PMO leader, I want to see perhaps all risks across my portfolio because I want to identify partners, right? So I want to see resourcing risks. I want to see vendor related risks. And so therefore I can come up with mitigation actions at the portfolio level to address those risks. But if I want to show that to my executive team, maybe I don't want to be showing every single one of the risks that I have across my portfolio. I want to just identify critical risks that need my executive team attention. So as long as you have that data at the project level, aggregating that at the program or portfolio level is very easy to do in Smartsheet. I don't have the time to show you to do how to do it today, but I can certainly do that in a separate session if you want. Okay, good question. Okay, so let me go back to, so that was the prompt that I put here, and the Claude came with this executive brief. So at first it came with, recommendation, the same way that we could have done with Smart Assist. But if you guys remember, Smart Assist can only look at the sheet that I have open. So now with Claude, for example, I can look at multiple sheets. So it can aggregate data from multiple data sources and come back with much more context and much better recommendations as well. And from here, what I could do is that create one pager PowerPoint that I can show to my executive team. So Claude is going to do that. I just asked for a one pager here because executives, they don't have a lot of time to be looking at stuff. So if you are still creating very long portfolio reports to give to your execs, most likely they are not reading it. So that's an excellent way to use these AI platforms. They do an excellent job in summarizing the information and presenting in a way that these can really appreciate the information, right? It's the right level for them. So there you go, another great use of AI platform. So now Claude is taking the time to put together that one pager for me, and it will show us in a moment here uh, that one page. So it's doing all the nice things that it does. Just give me a moment here. It should be done soon. Let's see, let's go, Claude. And I could have asked Claude I could have provided a much better prompt than I did here. I could have asked Claude to use my branding, right? My PowerPoint templates, if I have one in my organization. I didn't do any of that stuff. So it's going to create a PowerPoint presentation using their own template, which is fine. It doesn't look so bad. It brings the information that I was looking for. It's a one pager, so I can certainly could present this to my executive team, and I think that they would appreciate, right? But I could have refined this prompt if I don't like the information that I have here. I can do more prompts to refine. But the good thing is that the data is coming from Smartsheet. Every time that your project managers are uh, uh, updating the data inside of Smartsheet, new data will make available. So I could save some of these prompts if I want to generate that, let's say every 2 weeks for my executive team. I can save those prompts, apply again, and then it will always generate a new presentation for them. In case you don't want to ask them to go and see the dashboards that you create in Smartsheet, right? So sometimes it's excellent functionality to have available because some of those executives asks can be very last minute, right? And you don't have the time to create the dashboard, so you can ask Claude to help you doing that. For you guys who are project managers, because now Claude is looking at the information that you have at the project level as well, you can ask Claude to create your project documentation. So I have done that several times. I don't have the time today, but for example, to create project charter for me. So look at the information that I have for my project and put together an initial draft of my project charter. Claude will do that. You know, I can ask Claude to update my rate log, for example. But of course, as I said before, you have to be comfortable with Claude or any other AI platform updating the information you have in Smartsheet, because once it does that, you don't have a way to revert it. So just keep that in mind, right? Use that at your own discretion. All right, folks, we only have 3 minutes left. So I'll move forward here, but I'm always happy to show more of these functionalities in a later date. I have a few other examples here, but unfortunately today we don't have the time, but we'll make sure that you guys can access these in a later date. There are a few other AI features available as well. They are good AI features. I found the other ones that I just demonstrate a little bit better, but there are good ones as well. You can generate formulas if you are a Smartsheet builder or a Smartsheet developer, and you don't need to spend as much time creating formulas anymore. The AI can do that for you. You can. It's one of the use cases that we see nowadays with people using is this intelligent. Let me present quickly again uh, my Smartsheet. Just give me 1 second here. Is that? One of the things that you can do is that you can create forms so people can enter data into your Smartsheet assets, and you have this speak to field. So instead of typing everything, you can talk, and the fields are going to be populated, and you can just press submit at the end, and everything goes through. So just little things right there. It might not be a deal breaker for your PMO, but there are a few other things that are available in Smartsheet. And this link here contains a lot more information about Smartsheet, contains more information about the data security and the data governance for all these AI tools. So you can see that and you can show that to your cybersecurity team as well. Smartsheet does a pretty good job in keeping your data safe when you are enabling and utilizing these AI tools. So for us to wrap up, I hope this was helpful for you to understand the things that are available today, considering a PPM platform for your PMO. I think Smartsheet is one fantastic option. It really helps you to customize the PPM tool for what your PMO needs instead of your PMO adapting to what the PPM platform does. So it's a new one there, but it's very important when it comes to adoption. And it's available if you are using Smartsheet. Most of these functionalities are available even at the entry level plan, so you guys can have access today. And of course, if you guys want to have a more personalized conversation so we can talk about your specific use cases, I'm happy to do that. Here you can see my Calendly, so feel free to go there, find some time with me. I'll be happy to be talking to you and show you more of Smartsheet, a bunch of other functionalities that I couldn't show today, or simply go to our website, www.pmoevolution.com, and we're going to have more information, other things available for you on things that we do for our clients when it comes to Smartsheet implementation. But I appreciate your time. We are at time right now. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. This was helpful as well. We're going to make this recording available, and I look forward to seeing you all in one of our next webinars. Thank you, folks. Have a great day.